Hi, my name's Dan Stein. I'm the president of the Federation for American Immigration Reform, and I'm very pleased that everybody is here. And today we are conducting one of several lobby days that the Federation puts on periodically, particularly at critical moments, inflection points in the American experiment, the American dialogue. Clearly, the American people have spoken in this last election, and we've seen a dramatic head-turning, head-snapping change in the shape of political ideas and proposals. And one of the major issues that we see right now is, of course, border security and immigration policy overall. Today, we're going to be hearing from a distinguished group of citizen lobbyists, elected official lobbyists who have come around from all over the country, 26 states overall, to storm Congress to try to make sure that the key provisions of the Trump administration's border control and legislative agenda are enacted. They're fine, fine people. We're going to be hearing from Sheriff Steve Reams from Weld County, from Louisiana activist Sanchez Smith, former Sheriff Jesse Watts from Eureka County, Nevada, Sheriff Damian Devereaux from Dean County, Oklahoma, Sheriff Roy Boyd from Goliad County in Texas, and West Virginia State Representative Margarita Mazzocchi, all of whom are courageous Americans who've been fighting for years in public service and private on behalf of security for our country and the right for safe communities for all Americans all across the country. I've been working on this issue for nearly half a century, and I wish I could say that our political leadership could be counted on to be responsible. But we are making progress. Never before in American history has a president begun an inauguration speech with a discussion of immigration policy. The first 3 minutes of his inaugural speech were about the crisis on our borders and the need for better immigration controls. And the lobbyists who are here today are at the forefront of the citizen activism to try to make sure that happens. No country can survive without effective border security. What happened during the Biden administration must be an historical anomaly. We must make sure that Congress sets a standard to ensure that no president can go rogue again and allow millions of people to come across our borders, no questions asked, essentially unvetted. Hey, we'll let you in now, talk to us later, give us a call, we'll call you, don't worry, we'll get to you at some point, maybe years and years down the line. The American people have seen in ways that no academic or intellectual argument have seen what it means to lose control of the borders in real time. Criminal aliens in our cities, resurgence of foreign gangs, all across the country, Americans have now seen the reality. When I started working on this issue, the U.S. population was about 250 million. It's now about 340 million, increased by about 100 million people. Housing shortages, unaffordability, young people today don't see an economic path forward, and you have to wonder, how was it advanced, any of those goals advanced, by losing control of our borders and setting up all this additional demand for housing, education, and other things at a time when the country is running massive financial deficits. This should never be allowed to happen. With the Lake and Riley Act, we saw for the very first time Congress finally recognizing the importance of giving American citizens and affected states legal standing to go to court to stop a rogue executive from allowing our borders to spin out of control. Ideas appropriate to one age can be disastrous in the next. In the time I've been working on this issue, the world population's increased by about 3 billion people. No nation that values its sovereignty, particularly one as wealthy as the United States purports to be, can afford to allow its borders to go uncontrolled when you have hundreds of millions of people with everything to gain and nothing to lose to try to get to a country like the United States. Enforcing the rules is fundamental to restoring credibility to our immigration system. What this lobby day is about today is about restoring credibility, about ensuring that every immigrant who wants to come obeys our laws and respects our laws. We encourage President Trump and this administration not only to prioritize the removal of criminal aliens, but also to send a very clear and distinct signal. If you want to come to the United States, you have to respect our laws. Respect for law is a cornerstone of citizenship. It is what millions of Americans have fought and died for over 200 years. It is a hallmark of what it means to live in a self-governing democracy. We should not give away citizenship like it's candy. It should be earned, it should be something respected, and it should be something valued. To be an American citizen is to learn what it means to be part of a self-governing republic. You're not pledging allegiance to a potentate, a thug, a dictator, or a despot. You are, in fact, learning something very precious, what it means to live in a self-governing democracy, to participate as a citizen in our electoral affairs and our public affairs. To cheapen citizenship through some of the measures that have been taken recently is a hallmark of a dying democracy. We want to restore democracy. And this is what democracy is all about. Everybody here is part of that process. It is sacrosanct and it is precious. I want to introduce Sherry Rendell, who is FAIR's state and local director and coordinator. Sherry travels hundreds of thousands of miles over, I'll say, 5 years, but all the time in states all across the country, because there will never be effective border security, immigration control without not only interior enforcement, but strong state and local partnerships with the federal government. The days of sanctuary cities must be ended. The days when we have states that are turning around pursuing a modern day of nullification, which is basically what the southern states used to defend slavery. Now we see Democrats in major cities saying, oh, we have to keep our exploitable labor force. You can't enforce immigration laws, denying the supremacy of federal law. What Sherry does is of supreme importance, testifying in local legislatures with her team across the country, taking bullets from a hostile, irrational opposition. And we have learned the hard left is immovable. How much time do I have, Joey? 2 minutes? Don't give me 5. I'll go on. 0. Immovable left is beyond reason. This is not the Democrat Party that I knew through the 20th century. Democratic Party used to believe, fundamentally, illegal is illegal, and the rule of law matters. There was a center politically. That has not happened anymore. To stand up and resist common sense immigration reform, respect for the rule of law, should be a hallmark of both political parties. And when I was working on this thing in the 1980s, everybody could agree. The law is the law. And with that, I bring up Sherry Rendell, who will introduce our speakers. And let's give her a round of applause because she does a wonderful job.
So thank you, Dan. I am actually not speaking, but I have the privilege of introducing those who are here to speak from across the country. Our first speaker is Sheriff Damon Devereaux. He is a lifelong resident of Logan County. He started his law enforcement career as a reserve police officer at the age of 21. In 2003, he became the interim chief of police, and the following year, he accepted the chief of police position. Sheriff Devereaux ran and was elected Logan County Sheriff in 2016. With that, I welcome Sheriff Devereaux.
It's indeed an honor and a privilege to be here with such fine men and women that truly fight for the people of America. For the last 4 years, we've sent a message to Washington, D.C. to secure the border. And interesting, in one day, President Trump, with a swipe of his pen, creates that. So our message is a little different at this point. As the president said, we are a country with the rule of law, and finally we're getting that back. What you may ask, why is a sheriff from Oklahoma here? I can say we've all became border states. In my country alone, with the medical marijuana industry, with the criminal illegals that we come in contact with through these grow operations that are connected to Chinese national groups, the cartels, that comes along with indentured servitude, where people are living in extreme, horrible conditions. We make arrests, they bond out, they go back home, and we're left with the mess. The American dream is back alive, and it's a dream that is earned. It's not given to those that come here legally. It's worth fighting for, and I encourage those people that do want to come to America and become a citizen that they take the pathway that's legal for them. We're not saying that we're against immigration. We support immigration when it's done the lawful way. The thing that we're against is criminal aliens that come into our country to victimize our people, to commit crimes, to sell the fentanyl, to push the child sex trade. I mean, I could go on, but at the end of the day, as a sheriff, I took an oath to defend my people and the Constitution. And over the last 4 years, we haven't had the backing of a federal agency that typically has jurisdiction on immigration to give us any help. So we've been spinning our wheels. So this year, we're going to the Capitol asking that our congressional members fund HR2, fund Tom Holland to be successful at the border, get us Border Patrol agents, build the wall, put things in place to make this country again the country that it once was, a secure, profiting nation. And that's why we're here today, and I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Delegate Margita Masaki. She was born in Stolberg, West Germany, and she is a delegate from West Virginia serving in the 31st District. She came to the United States in 1999 and became a naturalized citizen in January 2017. Delegate Masaki was elected in 2020 and began serving the House of Delegates in December of that year.
Thank you, Sherry. Thank you for everybody being here. I am a real person. I have my information from having been at the border, having been in Germany, seeing what's going on over there. I'm real. I don't get it from the news. So I can report, thanks to FAIR helping me to be seeing the right picture at the border, what's going on, that you have people living there with barbed wire around their properties, which is not normal, okay? It's normal to them now, but this is not a normal way to live. Or to have to go outside and find a dead body behind your shed every couple of weeks. That is not normal. So we need to do something about it. I am from Germany, as you hear. My accent will reveal it. I have seen over there when the migration comes into the country, and it destroys a workforce. It destroys the cities. When you have the big hordes running through the city center, and the media is not reporting it. It comes like when the frog gets boiled slowly. People don't see that there is something happening in their state or in their country. It's not right for the borders to be open. I came the legal way. I had to get all immunizations. I had to do all the paperwork. I spent the money to come in here and to fall in love with this country. The founders did a fantastic job to give us a chance to come here and then to serve for this country. It is such an honor. I would love to see that we close our borders and have nice open doors so that the people can come in the right way, go through the legal immigration process, learn about our cultures, and be real good citizens in our beautiful United States of America. And I am thankful to FAIR to help us to spread the word and to help us to make this country better. Thank you.
Before I introduce our next speaker, I just really quickly want to recognize our Executive Director for FAIR, and Julie Kirshner is right there. And she has done a great job leading us and really getting us out there so that we have a voice and we share what we believe with everyone. So with that, I just really wanted to give her a round of applause and appreciation. Sheriff Steve Reams is serving his third term as the Weld County Sheriff. He was first elected in 2014. He began his career with the Weld County Sheriff's Office in 1997 as a master control operator in the Weld County Jail. During his time at the Sheriff's Office, Sheriff Reams has held many positions in both detentions and patrol, which has provided him with a background and an understanding of the day-to-day operations of all facets of the agency. And with that, Sheriff Reams.
Well, good morning, and thank you to FAIR for having us. Again, I'm Steve Reams. I'm the elected Sheriff of Weld County, Colorado. Let me start out by saying first that every state is a border state. No one's untouched. And illegal immigration is a topic that has come to the forefront of most every political discussion because the system has just been flat broken for so long. The Biden administration worsened an already broken system by basically saying we can do nothing about this unless Congress will pass sweeping changes. And instead, they just invited illegal immigration to flood our country from all over the world and did so in a way that allowed for our country to be taken advantage of, to the tune of about 10 million illegal immigrants into this country over the last 4 years. In my home state of Colorado, we saw encounters with fentanyl use rise exponentially to the point that we are losing about 3 people every day to death by that drug. That drug is a direct import from the cartels of Mexico, who took advantage of a wide open border for 4 years. And if fentanyl wasn't a big enough problem, Colorado made national news when Venezuelan gangsters took over apartment complexes in Aurora and Denver, Colorado. We can assume those gangsters didn't come to Colorado because they wanted to be law-abiding, upstanding citizens. They flat out weren't. They came to U.S. with one plan and one plan only, and that was to find a new batch of victims. Thankfully, the American public elected Donald J. Trump to restore order in our country, and he is getting it done. The border is closed, illegal immigrants are being captured and evicted, and our president is using every method that he can to make our country safe again. And he is doing it quickly, rapidly. Now we need Congress to do the same thing. They need to act and make sure they are supporting this administration with the laws necessary to codify what Trump has put into place and make sure that our country is never sent back down the same path we were on. We can't afford it. We can't keep kicking the can down the road. It's time for change. It's time for Congress to act and dedicate funding to permanently solve this disaster. The time is now. We're all here to make sure that that happens, and thank you for having us here, FAIR. It's an important effort. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Jesse Watts, who served as the sheriff coroner for Eureka County, Nevada. He was first elected in 2018 and reelected in 2022. He knew really early on he wanted to be in law enforcement. And I've heard this story from him. When he was just 12 years old, he was the law enforcement explorer and cadet. He is now the executive director of the Wounded Blue. In addition, he serves as vice president of the Northern Nevada Chapter of Concerns of Police Survivors, helping rebuild the shattered lives of families and coworkers of those killed in the line of duty. With that, Jesse.
Good morning and thank you. It's an honor to be amongst the distinguished guests that are speaking here. but furthermore, to be able to talk to the men and women of Congress to hopefully have the voice of reason to actually empower them to make some change. Over the last 4 years, we've seen detriment to our country like no other in history. We have absolutely watched the open border kill American people. We've watched it kill family members. We've watched it kill cops. And we've watched it kill the American dream. Thank God the people of America voted for a purpose. They didn't vote for a person. They voted for a purpose. And that purpose was to restore law and order in this country, restore our greatness as a country, because the preamble of the Constitution says we the people of the United States. It doesn't say we the people of the world can come here and play for free and do what you want. It says that we the people of the United States. And what that is an absolute declaration for everybody in this country, the empowerment, the will of the people. We have no problem with immigration. We have problems with invasions. The stop has happened. The power is there. The money we're spending now to take care of what has happened is tenfold. What we're here to do today is to talk to members of Congress to fund the process of legal immigration, because an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. The money we're spending on the backside fixing what has happened is way more than what it would have cost to put that in place in the first place so that people can come here legally, rightfully, to live the American dream, because that's what we're about. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Sancha Smith. She ran in the Republican primary as a conservative Christian for the Louisiana 5th Congressional District in 2021. For nearly 2 decades, she has been involved in the political process as a business owner, engaged citizen, justice of the peace, and as the Louisiana State Director for Concerned Women for America. With that, Sancha, thank you.
Good morning. I'm here as a concerned citizen. I'm here as a taxpayer. I'm here as a parent to make sure that Congress and the globalist agenda understands very clearly that Americans want our border protected. We are a sovereign nation. We take dictate from no one but our own consensus, our own constitution, our own vote, our own voice. With that said, illegal immigration is just that. The operative word here is illegal. We have laws. As an American, when I break a law, there's a consequence. There might be a fine to be paid. There may be time served if found guilty. There are consequences for illegal activity in our country and in our communities. Illegal immigration under the Biden administration, it was a scourge on our nation. It was absolutely horrendous. We've spent over $150 billion annually on illegal immigration. So this is what I have to say to the funding measure, that Congress needs to support H.R. 2 and fund the legal process of legal immigration. We justify and we spend money to house, to feed, to clothe, to protect illegal immigrants, but we have homeless veterans under our bridges. We have homeless women and men and children that do not have homes, that are not being supported. So I say to this, before we spend one more dime, one more penny on illegal immigration, we need to make sure that our veterans, our families, our sons and daughters are protected and provided for. You understand? I have a vested interest. My grandfather served in the United States Navy. My dad served in the United States Army. My husband served in the United States Navy. Take care of Americans first. Put our sisters, our brothers, our parents, our children first. There need not be one more dollar spent on illegal immigration while there are homeless children on our streets, while there are United States veterans on our streets. Not on my watch. Thank you.
Our last speaker is Sheriff Roy Boyd. He is the Goliad County Sheriff. He is a 7th generation Texan who was elected in November 2020. And after a 20-plus year career in law enforcement, with his county sitting midway between Mexico and Houston, Sheriff Boyd is really leading a multi-county task force to thwart a massive criminal network operating along Highway 59. With that, Sheriff Boyd.
I'm Sheriff Roy Boyd, and like she said, I'm in Goliad County, Texas. As a South Texas Sheriff, I've seen firsthand the impacts of the Biden administration's open border policy. For the last 4 years, what we have had is not an immigration problem, but actually a problem with slave trade, as we brought tens of millions of people into this country and placed them into indentured servitude. What a difference an election makes. Now that President Trump is in office, we've gone from having thousands of people a day come across that border, being pushed across by the cartels, to just a handful. We've gone from a flood to a trickle. But the victory is not ours. People might think that because President Trump won, everything is over, but it is not. While Mike Banks and the Border Patrol are doing an outstanding job of securing the border, that is only one part of the equation. And we come here today to ask members of Congress to continue to fund our fight against the cartel presence in the United States of America, to stop the slave trade that the cartels have been engaged in for all these years. Now is the time for us to stand up and fight. It is not the time for us to slap ourselves on the back and declare victory. We cannot have our government decide that it's all over and we've politically won. We must continue to fight, and we must rid ourselves of the scourge of the cartel presence in the United States of America. We must ask our Congress to continue to fund our federal partners, our states, and our local initiatives in order to get these people out of our society and restore America to what it once was. So that is exactly why I'm here today, to work with FAIR and try to get Congress to do the things that are necessary to move forward for a final victory for the United States of America and for the people we serve. God bless y'all, and God bless Texas.
And with that, we are going to conclude our press conference. We thank you all for joining us today.